Good evening. I would like to call the June 26, 2024 regular council meeting to order. May we have the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation, please.
Please begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today, you will all be seated while I read this. As we gather here today to deliberate on the matters that affect our community, let us take a moment to reflect on our shared purpose and the responsibilities we bear. May we be guided by wisdom and integrity in our discussions and decisions. Let our hearts and minds remain open to diverse perspectives and experiences, recognizing that our strengths lie in our unity and collective effort. We ask for the courage to face the challenges before us with grace and determination, and for the compassion to serve all members of our community with fairness and respect. May we strive to create an environment where every voice is heard and every person feels valued. Let our actions today be rooted in a deep commitment to justice, equity, and common good. May we work together in a spirit of collaboration and mutual respect, ever mindful of our duty to the people we serve and the future we wish to build. With gratitude for the opportunity to serve you, we begin this meeting with a renewed dedication to our shared mission. And welcome to the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Lamb. City Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ross.
Here.
Mayor Carnevale.
Here. City Manager, are there any changes to the agenda?
Mayor, I have no changes.
Okay, the first item, special presentation. Brenda Ramirez, representing the Cathedral City High School Band Booster, will be making a presentation to the city. Welcome.
What time of year it is?
Hello.
I wanted to first start off and say thank you to the City of Cathedral City. I'm here before you as president of the Cathedral City Band Booster. I have two kids in the band. I thought it'd be easier than sports, but unfortunately, I took a turn to the worse. They are much more busier than in any sport that I can think of. But I wanted to thank you on behalf of our students and our parents for the support that you've given our organization this year. This year, our marching band took 5 first place trophies and won 4th overall in the state tournament.
Now you repeat that when you see them.
Yes, no, we keep all of our trophies. If you ever come into our band room, you'll be surprised at how many trophies this band has. And it's really a testament to the community that we have, because if you look at all the other schools that went that day for the state tournament, I mean, other schools have a lot more funds to come often, and we went in there and rocked it and got 4th. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people were surprised at the position that we took. But this year we really wanted just to do something special for those who help us out. The city has always been so gracious in assisting us. Our police department has donated trailer equipments that we use all the time. And then our fire department always comes out and helps us with both donations. And honestly, to see those kids turn into 5-year-olds when the fire truck engine comes in to get washed, the car wash, is always fun to see. And as well as the people before us. The city has helped us this year with allowing our jazz band to perform in the amphitheater at our concert. We really do wish to continue that and share our children's musical talents with the community. We do so many great things, and this year Councilmember Rita Lamb came to our final show of the school year, which they performed, Symphony Band performed. And I really do hope that I can provide that to the rest of the community to see that. And we also wanted to give a special thanks as well to the city, but in particular to Councilmember Rita Lamb, who donated to our band this year. And she provided a personal contribution to her. So we wanted to present everybody here a plaque. First, to the city, which states, "With our greatest appreciation to the City of Cathedral City for your selfless service to the CCHS band program, you have our gratitude." And as well to Councilmember Rita Lamb, for your selfless service to the CCHS program, you have our gratitude.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my.
Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm a hugger.
Of course.
Anything we can do for you.
Cool. Thank you
So much. You're very welcome. Thank you. You're always really thank you.
Oh, my gosh, this is wonderful. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. This is fabulous. How you doing?
And before I begin, Mr. City Manager, do we have anything to report from closed session this afternoon?
Mayor, I'll take that. We did have 2 items of real estate negotiation. The council heard a briefing from their appointed real estate negotiator, Assistant City Manager Ann Ambrose. You completed both of those items, but there's no reportable action on those. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Public comments. Ms. City Clerk, could you please read the statement of participation?
Public comment is the opportunity for members of the public to comment on items that are within the City Council's jurisdiction but not on the agenda. Because of restrictions contained in California law, the City Council may not discuss or act on any item not on the agenda, but may briefly respond to statements made or ask a question for clarification. The mayor may also request a brief response from staff to questions raised during public comment or request that a matter be agendized for a future meeting. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes. If you are a member of the public and you wish to address the City Council, please complete a request to speak form available at the entrance and submit it to the City Clerk. You will be called upon at the appropriate time. If you have materials or other items to present to the members of the City Council, please do not approach them. All materials shall be presented to the City Clerk for distribution. And Mayor, we do have a few speakers this evening.
Would you invite them in order?
Yeah. The first speaker is Mr. Robert McCormick.
Hello, Robert.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and I appreciate it if you not interrupt me for my 3 minutes. Riverside County Supervisor Emmanuel Perez, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianca, Cathedral City Police Chief, don't know his name. I will refer back to these in a few minutes. The Constitution affords the right of every citizen equally, meaning no citizen, no matter what their position in life is, what their demographic is, or anything else, supersedes any other citizen. The fact that my vehicle was impounded because 2 homeowners, they cooked breakfast, their vehicle is better than mine, so my vehicle was impounded by their not liking my vehicle parked on their street. So what was it, a quid pro quo of hundreds of thousands of dollars into the local county, city, state coffers and into the individuals' pockets and bank accounts that I mentioned? Is that the reason why the decision has not been reversed on my illegal eviction and my illegal vehicle being impounded? I am still waiting, and I am still demanding maximum punitive damages of constitutional rights, civil rights, Bill of Rights, federal law, filing a complaint 24 CFR 3617, 42 USCA 3617, filing a complaint and being retaliated against. In addition, what I have experienced, as far as I'm concerned, is racketeering and extortion against me from all of these police agencies. I want it to stop. I want back in my apartment. I want back my vehicle. I am homeless. I am tired of being homeless. My fiancee, Lucia Reyes, is being harassed. She is tired of the elements. We deserve to be back. We committed no crimes in order to be evicted illegally and have my vehicle impounded illegally. You find the crimes, you show me the crimes that I committed in which this actions were taken, and we'll reconsider. But there is no crimes involved. The only crimes involved are against us. And like I said, I want maximum punitive damages, and for every minute of every day of every week of every month, the maximum punitive damages are accruing, and you can stop that and pay whatever it is that I am afforded to, and reverse the decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
The next speaker is Yasmin Espinoza.
Good afternoon, City Council and Mayor, Police Chief, and Fire Captain. We just want to put, with the Tramview Resident Park, and we want to put on file with the City Council that we have 2 letters that we want to file with, that have been sent off to the landowners regarding Tramview. Since we were here last on March 3rd, we have had 13 more water leaks in our park where water has been shut off. We just had one over the weekend where it was a 2-dayer in this heat. We've lost 3 residents due to heat in their mobile homes because of swamp cooler and health issues, which has really put a shock onto us. We've had 5 mobile homes removed, evicted out. So overall, Nancy Ross, thank you so much, and City Council, Police, and Fire Department. We are on the upswing of this. When we came to you on March 3rd, we had our hands in the air, just didn't know where to turn to. You have committed to us. You've given us pride in your excellent service to help us. And we want to thank you, Nancy Ross, and City Council, and everyone else. You are really helping us. And I want to give these to Tracy so she can give you a copy of them, okay? And we've sent them off to the landowners regarding the sinkhole that we're still dealing with also.
Yes.
Okay? Thank
But
you.
that was covered up when the fire came out, is that correct? They put some cones around, and did you guys put something over it, do you remember?
They did put cones over it. Why the city was there was on the 19th. It was a holiday.
Right.
So they did cover that, but we have only had the city come out. We haven't had anybody from our park management come out other than the manager to come and fix it. It's still a closed street.
Thank you so much for showing up tonight and for telling us about it. It's really a shame.
Yeah. And thank you again.
Thanks.
The next speaker is Josh Hines.
Hello, my name is Josh Hines. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at Visit Greater Palm Springs. Some of you I've seen out at various events and things of that nature. I want to take a moment to thank the City of Cathedral City and the Mayor and the Council and City staff for being such wonderful partners with us at Visit Greater Palm Springs, for collaborating on marketing, sales efforts, and supporting student scholarships and education through the Tourism Foundation. And particularly for starting the process with IBCCS to become a certified autism center. As you know, we at Visit Greater Palm Springs are working with IBCCS and our partners across the valley to become a certified autism destination. Your collaboration and leadership in this initiative is invaluable, and I appreciate it. As a father of 3 boys on the autism spectrum, this effort is very meaningful to me, so I want to thank you for that. I particularly want to thank you beyond me being a member of the DMO, but as a 21-year father of individuals on the autism spectrum. The other parents that come to me say one of the greatest concerns is that fire and police have more training, and you're going to be the first city that's going to provide that for fire and police. And we, as parents, we are so grateful for you, and we hope it inspires other police and fire across the valley to do the same. Autism, as you know, is diagnosed in one in every 36 children in the U.S., and this initiative we're doing aims to get businesses and organizations across the valley to take more training about autism so they may better serve those on the spectrum or with sensory needs. There is a cost, as you know, to businesses for this training, and though it's a valuable investment for any business, we know that the cost can sometimes be prohibitive, especially for small businesses. So we are going to each city across the valley and asking you to consider to create a small grant fund to help your businesses to get certified, particularly those businesses most frequented by families in your community, like theaters, Mary Pickford, especially that, restaurants, attractions, and entertainment businesses. This would be an investment in your city and its residents, as well as a valuable visitor and marketing tool. Visit Greater Palm Springs and the Tourism Foundation are also actively seeking funding from our own sources on a way to provide grants to local businesses. Together, we can help create a more understanding and inclusive community for individuals on the spectrum and drive this initiative far past just earning the Certified Autism designation. Thank you again for your time. Please feel free to contact me. I spoke with Ann today. You can always come by our office. I got 25 seconds. Again, the library, the Boys and Girls Club of Cat City, the theater, that is particularly the Palm Springs International Film Festival member there said they'd have an event during the festival there with families, and she would love to see that certified. And I know Ted, but I know that they have small margins. So if we could help that theater get certified, that would be great. Thank you again for all you're doing. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Jens Mueller.
Jens?
Hi, good evening, Council. Mayor, Council, good evening. Love to hear about the band. My son went through band, and it was under Whitmore. Whitmore was a beast.
Yeah.
The guy was amazing. Anyway, we loved it. It was really good for my son. So I'm here to talk about commitment, pride, and excellence. We've been talking about trash cans, beautifying our city, and I'd like to use that second word in our branding, pride. I don't know that we can say that we have 100% pride as we drive through our communities, and we see that 50%, over 50% of the neighbors have no pride where they live. They don't have pride in their neighbors that do have pride, like I do. Right? We have a gardener, we take our trash cans back, but there are some neighbors who just don't care. So I'd like to get that pride from 50% up to 100%. And I'd like to borrow something from what Councilman Gutierrez said, I think about 4 weeks ago, a suggestion, and borrow from Rancho Mirage. We currently handwrite all our citations, and I emailed Charlie about where we are on e-citations. Numerous cities have e-citations, the capability. So police officers have that now. I want code enforcement officers to have that. And all it is simply a printer on the hip of either the police officer or code. And it allows them to be 500% more efficient than handwriting. It takes an officer, whether it be a code or a police officer, 2 to 3 minutes to write a citation. With an iPad, code enforcement code can go along, see the citation, press a button, print the ticket, and have it done. It's all collated. It's all on file. There's no going back to the office, putting it in a file, and all this. This is 19th century what we're doing. We need to get to the 21st century. And e-citation and citation processing is also the way forward on that. So I recommend what we do, what Councilman Gutierrez said. We flood a zone. We flood 2 streets on Monday. Trucks go down, one truck goes all the way down and notes the violation and issues a warning. To Raymond's point, education, fine, let's educate them. They go back on the second week and they note, oh, this guy hasn't learned the lesson. We issue a citation, $25 citation. We go back again on the third week. They haven't learned their lesson, they still do it. We now issue a $100 citation. On the fourth week, we issue a $500 citation. Now, by then, I don't think we're going to have many people who haven't followed the rules, right? But if I may backtrack, what's very important is that on day one, on Monday, we have Ryan Also, blanket with digital media saying Cathedral City is serious about beautifying their city. All right, let's get the word out there. So Monday, week 1, week 2, week 4. Week 4, we issue that $500 citation or $1,000 citation, and we send that off to citation processing. That's out of our hands now. We don't need their social security number to make them pay. It's their parcel number. Their property parcel number is attached. So when they pay their property tax, they pay that fine also. Okay?
Okay.
Come on, guys. Let's do it. Let's have some community pride. Let's get it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes. Thank you.
Evan Tucker.
What's that?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name's Evan Tucker, and I'm a Cathedral City resident. And I'm just here to share with you today how important it is that I think our city focus on increasing affordable housing. I know that it's a crisis we're experiencing, unfortunately, throughout the country and the state. But I know that our county has one of the most severe affordable housing unit shortages in the country, and the Coachella Valley has a higher rate of residents that are rent burdened than the state average. I talk to people regularly who grew up here, and maybe their parents still live here, but they can't afford to live here themselves, to live near their families or the area where they grew up. And I see folks that are unhoused, living on the street all around where I live. And, I know that this is something the city takes seriously, and I hope that it's just something that you will really prioritize, since it's such an important quality of life issue for everyone who lives here and everyone who would love to live in this great city. So thank you so much.
Thank you for taking time and giving your message.
Thank you.
Mayor, I don't have any other requests to speak forms for public comment, but if you are a member of the public and you wish to provide public comments on any item not on the agenda, now would be the time. Please raise your hand.
Okay, we'll move on to council reports. We're going to go with Councilmember Land.
And thank you so much, Mayor Carnevale. And there are so many events where we all shared the experience together. So I'll just focus on some of the events that I went to and was able to represent the city. The first one was the Memorial Day Luncheon, and it was a beautiful event, and it was at Cimarron Golf Club. And I just think that is such a the Cimarron Golf Club itself is such a beautiful asset that we have in our community. And AMVETS puts this on every year, and they were able to recognize our veterans and recognize 2 Holocaust survivors and their children. So they gave wonderful testimonials about the freedom and the price of democracy, and it was just a very moving event, and I was very proud to represent Cathedral City. We had our emergency preparedness event. We've had 6 events since 2015, and this one was at the Cathedral City Library, and the focus has shifted from this all-encompassing view of emergency preparedness to what to do in those first 72 hours, because following Tropical Storm Hillary, we all learned that those services might not be available to us because the streets were unavailable to us. So, that was just a primary focus. And a young gentleman named one of our Cathedral City Fire Department personnel, Dewan Delatorre, gave the presentation, and he did such a beautiful job. And he did the presentation, the one before this, at St. Louis Catholic Church, and it was bilingual. So he really has such a wonderful thing. And I want to talk about the opportunities for our fire personnel to do this, because the connection with the community was instant. He's young, he's a Cathedral City resident, and he was sharing with me prior to it that he was, the very first time he did, he said he was kind of nervous, and he got a hold of the microphone, and he was a pro. So he totally engaged the people, and he had a group of about 50, and the former time he had a group of standing room, only 100 people at St. Louis Church. So I'm really excited that we're able to offer this emergency preparedness event twice a year, and our fire department is expanding its services and interactions with the community. So thank you. May was Mental Health Awareness Month, and I was able to attend a presentation at the Mary Pickford Theater, and thank you, Ted, for always opening up the theater for these special presentations. Peter Bedard from Cathedral City, he's also a commissioner from a historical society, was able to present, and he was able to present his book about mental health. And anyway, it was just great to have him there, and it was another full house. I want to thank the engineering department and Public Works for all the fabulous jobs they're doing around the city, but especially in the Cove. My husband and I live in the Cove area, and so they all got a letter about a month ago announcing that they're going to do the Cove crack repairs, and we've all been just waiting with our dogs and, for it to happen, and so it's happening. So thank you very much for that. And I just wanted to remind everyone that the Cathedral City Library is our cooling center, and it also does food distribution between noon and 1. So that has just become a great community venue. Mayor Pro Tem Ross and I attended the Chuckwalla National Monument Designation public meeting. I was not able to speak. I stood out of the sun into the shade and ended up at the very last of the line and was not able to, they didn't have enough time for the public comments. It was from 10 to 1. But Mayor Pro Tem did a beautiful job in representing Cathedral City and our support for that, along with Diana Rosas from the Coachella Valley Mountains Conservancy, of which I'm the chairperson. And she did a beautiful job representing that particular agency and support for Chuckwalla. And let me see here, everything else we've done, everybody's done, we've done. And the pool kickoff was so much fun, and I just have to say, brave Mayor Carnevale and Councilman Gregory jumped right in the pool and made a big splash. So as we go forward, we're all enjoying that, and but I'll turn it over, and that's for all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for that. Yes, it was perilous with the lifeguard sitting right there, but all right. Well, it's been a whole month since last we met, and we're supposed to report on any conferences or local events, so I'm going to go really fast. Okay, so since we last met, I did represent the city at the opening of Visit Greater Palm Springs Restaurant Week, and we also, all of us were at the Palm Springs Unified Street naming for both of the high schools in our city. I did attend with Patsy. I did attend Ice Cream with Patsy, raising money for the police's homeless team, and then a dinner with Patsy on a different date, raising money for the Boys and Girls Club. For CVAG, I did attend Transportation Committee meeting, a Public Safety Committee meeting, and the General Assembly, which all my peers were there at that. And there's a couple of those like this where we're one of the few cities that everybody showed up, but I know that one, everybody showed up in there. And then later there's another one. For RCTC, I did attend their regular meeting and a Budget Implementation Committee meeting. For Palm Springs Chamber, I did attend their Pride opening event. And for Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce was the installation dinner. And again, all of our council was there. Most cities did not have all of their council there. Again, in Palm Springs, a fundraiser for Palm Springs Pride, I did attend the big gay barbecue. And then most of you know that I'm involved in a nonprofit called Safe Schools Desert Cities. They did put on their camp for 4 days, so I spent 4 days up in Angeles Oaks, and I was the camp director and with 22 teenagers, and I was very tired after that. So I got to come back, and thanks to Antonio Beishu and the whole committee there for the the Parks and Community Events, they are putting on summer movies, so I was honored to be able to be 1 week the summer movie book handout person. And then, as has already been noted, we attended the high school swim opening. I wore my rubber ducky swim shorts, and there is a video out there of us jumping in the pool. So. All right, so that's it as far as meetings. That's pretty good for a month, though, right? So I just, again, wanted to thank or welcome everyone to summer. I'm sure you've noticed by the change of temperature that we are in summer, and the upcoming 4th of July celebration is really just a week and a day away. So I hope everyone will celebrate the 248th anniversary of our great nation, and that they will take the time to reflect on our democracy and ways that we can continue to work together, even though sometimes we seem very separated. I know our council is a good example of working together, and I hope we will continue to do that for our nation. I also want to encourage everyone as they celebrate to be a good neighbor, and that means observe our noise ordinances, and no fireworks of any kind are allowed in Cathedral City. That's not just on the 4th of July, that's any time, and most of you have probably already heard them. I know I have. So people are already not being good neighbors, so I would encourage people to be good neighbors and to have fun, but keep their celebrations legal and under control. And I also would encourage people, if you see something, say something. Do not be afraid to turn in people on your street that are firing off fireworks. I often spend a little bit of time this time of year in Big Bear, and I noticed the big difference is there's almost no fireworks except for the fireworks put on over the lake by the organization. And people say, well, why is the difference there? It's because people will turn people in when they fire off fireworks because they're worried it's going to burn down their house. Well, it can burn down your house here in Cathedral City too. So I would encourage people to follow the rules, but I would also encourage them not to be shy about calling the police department if they have neighbors that are firing off the fireworks. The police department can do something if you can say they are coming from this house. I am looking at them there, or I'm hearing them, and I know they're coming from this house. It's very difficult when you say, I hear them and they're in my neighborhood. So when I encourage people to be a little more specific, especially if they are next door to one of these houses, I don't want to have to hear a tragic story about someone didn't call and then fireworks burned down their house or somebody else's house. So let's all have a good celebration and a good 4th of July, and then we'll see you next month. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Hey, we kind of got a lesser group, so that just means we get to spend more time with you, that's all. So good afternoon. We are very pleased that you are joining us, whether it is in person or hello up there on the computer or television. Each of us work every day either for council or for the agencies where we represent the city. Each of us have a couple, or some of us have quite a few, of those kinds of meetings. They have giant agendas. I am telling you, I got out my council and another commission's agenda, and I had 918 pages. It was almost drove me to drinking. So anyway, we have to carefully read them, so I couldn't. So that we can vote on important issues. In addition, we attend numerous functions each week that promote our residents and our city. We also look forward to new opportunities like our amazing amphitheater under the direction of Ryan Hunt, our communications and events director. We can hold thousands of people here in our city and can have fabulous entertainment opportunities like, say it with me, LeAnn Rimes, who will be now headlining our balloon festival, which is quite a to-do, I might say. So you can imagine how proud I was to today be unanimously voted to be the new chair of Sunline Transit Agency, who also just was honored a few days ago with Award of the Year for Large Business. With a generous budget, we will continue to make advances into the future that transit must continuously work for. These are advances for all of us. So to finish my comments, I just want to reiterate that we are all working as hard as possible, except for those few vacation days, to see Cathedral City's little stars shine brighter and to work with all the agencies in the Coachella Valley to learn new things and ideas to make all of us even better. I think it's a lyric to a song, but I'm just going to lay it on you. Whatever we do for you. We all keep you in our hearts, and we thank you for being so awesome.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Nice to be back. I hope everyone's staying cool in this hot weather. I'm not going to mention a lot of things that we all do as a council because we attend so many meetings that and events together that were already mentioned. And like I said before or in the past, our city is very fortunate that when we attend events, whether it's in Desert Hot Springs or in Indian Wells or in Palm Desert, your city is always well represented by our city council and also our city manager and our assistant city manager and staff. Many of the cities, there might be one person that is actually representing the entire city. And that happens a lot. And we're very fortunate that we all attend and we represent our city. Now, the things that were not mentioned or I did separately from my colleagues, I'll just mention a few. One of the things that I did, thank you to the city manager and assistant city manager, I took him out for a drive and it was in my district. And we just drove around our cities just to acknowledge and to see what we need to do to improve and to beautify our city and to work on blight. And the blight that we saw is, of course, we need to work on it and we need to do better. So we spent about an hour or so driving around. We ran out of ink and paper, put it that way. And that was only an hour and a half. So we have a lot of work to do. But thank you, city manager and assistant city manager, for joining me. And also, the mayor and I met with a developer that is having issues developing within our city. As a matter of fact, Michael, what's his name? Balian just left. But he's having a couple of issues, and we're trying to work with him, so hopefully he will get his property developed. And also, I was contacted by a resident, a constituent, and I met with him. He's having some issues that he installed barbed wire above or on top of his fence, and he's refusing to comply. And I keep talking to him, and hopefully he will just comply, and we don't have to go any further than we already have with him. And during this time off, it's been nice to actually catch up in my personal things and business things that I need to accomplish, and also to give staff a little bit of time to actually catch up in things that they cannot do because they're always getting ready for the next meeting, the following meeting. So this time it gives them a little bit of time, and it gives us time also, personal time, to catch up in our own things. And tomorrow I'll be participating in a meeting with the Palm Springs Unified School District along with Councilmember Lamb here. And this meeting, they will update us as to what's going on with the Palm Springs Unified School District, as to what programs and also what renovations they are doing and how it's going with the current ones that they're working on. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Gutierrez. I'd like to thank this council. I kind of sent out a memo because it does take up a lot of time on council reports, but it's so important for everyone to hear and for council to express what they do here. A lot of people think that this is all we do here is meet once or twice a month, and it's just so much more than that. But every one of us enjoy what we do here, and I asked them to kind of speed it up because it's going to be a long agenda tonight, but thank you for doing that, because I know Raymond can go on for a while, so no, I'm kidding, but thank you for that, and I'll breeze through it. I did, and by the way, I did attempt the swan dive. I don't know, it didn't come out very well at the pool, but well, I don't know what happened. But I did also attend Memorial Day at Forest Lawn. I attended the consultant with VGPS. Then I attended along with Adam, our new events coordinator. He hasn't been introduced here yet, has he, Adam? Not yet, but at Caliente School, he did a really, really good job there. And then ribbon cutting at a new restaurant called K-Pop Foods. I don't know if you've tried it. It's Korean food, and it is delicious. He's a very owner-operator. Then I interviewed the 2 historical committee applicants along with 2 public arts applicants. And then attended the VGPS board meeting. Off to the Mary Pickford to see Antonio and Aaron out there do such a fine job. We got rushed by hundreds of kids there. I really felt bad for eating the 6 bags of popcorn. That means 6 kids didn't get popcorn. And Antonio got a couple or 2 or 3 bags too, I think. But that was a very good presentation. I hear it's continuing to go very successful too. Thank you. And then I went to the Coachella Valley Visitors installation dinner and CVAG board meeting. And tomorrow I'll be meeting with the CVWD meeting, also met with the fire chief. So as you can see, we're always busy. We're always doing something here. So thank you very much. And we're going to move on now with the consent agenda. Will the city clerk please read the consent agenda?
Item number 3A is to waive full reading of ordinances on agenda. Item number 3B is to approve the study session and regular city council minutes of May 22nd, 2024. Item number 3C is to receive and file payment of claims and demands for May of 2024. Item number 3D is to adopt a resolution approving a citywide publicly available pay schedules in accordance with Code of Regulations Title II, Section 570.5, 571, and 571.1, and rescinding Resolution 2024-20. Item number 3E is the approval of grant expenditures for the SLISA fiscal year 2020-2021. Item number 3F is amendment number 1 to the Agreement for Development Support Services between Cathedral City and Christensen and Company. Item number 3G is a notice of completion for fiscal year 2023-2024 rubberized emulsion aggregate slurry projects. Item number 3H is to conduct a second reading by title only and adopt an ordinance authorizing the levy of a special tax within improvement area number 21 of the City of Cathedral City Community Facilities District number 2006-1 for law enforcement, fire, paramedic, park, and general maintenance services. Item number 3I is to ratify the following nominations and appoint each individual to serve a 3-year term continuing through June 30th, 2027. And this would be then for the Planning Commission. This is the nomination by Councilmember Gregory to appoint Danielle Mead, and the nomination by Councilmember Rita Lamb to appoint William Roy McPhail. For the Parks and Community Events Commission, this would be a nomination by Mayor Pro Tem Nancy Ross to reappoint Aaron Highland, and a nomination by Councilmember Raymond Gregory to reappoint Antonio Beishu. For the Public Arts Commission, this would be a nomination by Mayor Mark Carnevale to appoint Don Stouter, and a nomination by Mayor Pro Tem Nancy Ross to appoint Gregory Marks. And for the Historic Preservation Committee, this would be a nomination by Mayor Mark Carnevale to reappoint Charlotte Hunter Copper. Item number 3J is a resolution confirming assessments against various property owners for nuisance abatement costs. And item number 3K is to adopt a resolution calling and giving notice of a general municipal election to be held on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, for the election of certain officers, and requesting the Board of Supervisors of the County of Riverside to consolidate the general municipal election with the statewide general election to be held pursuant to California Elections Code Section 10403, and also adopt a resolution establishing regulations for elective office pertaining to materials submitted to the voters at an election to be held on November 5th, 2024. And that concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you very much. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment on any of the item on the consent item?
I don't have any requests to speak
Okay,
forms for
thank
any
you.
of the items.
Council, speakers. Is there any council members' comments or questions or anything? Do we have a motion?
Oops. The motion carries. All ayes.
Okay. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that real quick here for me?
So we see we have several of our newly reappointed or appointed commissioners in the audience, and thank you to all of them, and thank you to everyone that applied. We had many great applicants also, and we look forward to all the great work you're going to do.
Don and Gregory, would you stand up and because the council could see, the council members that might not have seen you. Thank you very much. You too, come on. Welcome to Cathedral City, all of you. And thank you. And then, of course, Antonio and Aaron, come on, stand up. Show that beautiful jacket. Thank you, everybody here. All right. Well, thank you so much. You got a lot of work. What's that?
Get to work.
Yeah, now get to work, right. Okay, public hearings, annual renewal of the Lighting and Landscaping District, LLD. May we have a staff report, please, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, Kevin Biersack will present that, the Director of Financial Services. You actually reviewed this in study session a couple of meetings ago, and now this is the final step in the process for these. Kevin?
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and staff. As the city manager said, you've seen this, so this will be probably your quickest one tonight.
Nice.
So, as a reminder, where we've been and what we've done, back on the 8th of May, we had the intention proceedings resolution and the intention to levy and the preliminary engineers report. Keep in mind what you have in your packet this evening. The final engineers report looks just like the preliminary. There were no changes. So tonight is step 2. It's more than 30 days after that meeting. And so we will have the public hearing and order the levy and the collection of the assessments resolution, and you all will approve the final engineers report resolution. A recap, these numbers have not changed from last month either with respect to the total maintenance cost for the 16 zones. And then the bottom line when all is said and done is what will be levied is about $350,000, and that is the number of parcels and equivalent dwelling units for those 16 zones. The recommendation is to hold the public hearing and adopt tonight's resolutions. Any questions? On that note, I will turn it over
Council?
for the public hearing.
Any public comments?
Mayor, if you can open the public hearing.
At this time, I will open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment on this item?
So I don't have any request to speak forms for this item, but if you're a member of the public and you wish to provide public comment at this time, please raise your hand.
Are there any members, any comments from the council?
I would just, again, like to reiterate my earlier comments. Again, thanks to staff and this council for a policy that covers the park costs in these districts so that members that live or residents that live in the Panorama Park and the Century Park area do not unfairly pay more than their equal burden on the parks. And I also, of course, would want to thank finance and public works staff for their financial restraint, which is shown by many of these assessments actually going down in an inflationary time like this. They are making sure that these monies are getting well spent, and which has actually allowed some of these assessments to go down. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, very, very welcome. Anyone else? At this time, I will close the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve staff's recommendation? Does that come through, Tracy?
It did. And the motion carries all ayes.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. Legislative actions, appoint the Palm Springs International Airport Commission and Finance Advisory.
So, Mayor, members of the council, you earlier in the study session this afternoon interviewed 2 candidates for the Finance Advisory Committee. We have 1 opening, so you'll need to appoint one of the 2 to that, and you interviewed 5 candidates for the Cathedral Cities seat on the Palm Springs International Airport Commission. You have 1 opening there, so you'll need to appoint one of them.
Okay, this is, I don't need any public comments on this, right?
We do take public comment on all of the items. I do not have a request to speak form for this item, so we can take public comment. I can ask the rest of the, is there anyone that would like to provide public comment on this item? Please raise your hand.
Okay, I'm going to ask council. I'll start with Councilman Gutierrez. Do you have a choice for the Advisory Finance Committee.
Finance Committee, it is very difficult. We have two great candidates, and the only thing that holds me back from choosing one of them is that she has already been chosen and appointed to the Planning Commission, and that being Daniel Meade. They're both incredible. It's tough, but I would like to pick Ruth for the only reason that to give others the opportunity. They're both well qualified.
Okay, so you Ruth?
Ruth Fernandez.
Councilmember Lamb?
I agree. Thank you. And for the same reason.
Councilmember Gregory?
So I actually agree for the same reason. We had this and the next one, of course, we had, as has been said, they made it extra hard on us because sometimes there's some that are really not so suitable, but pretty much everybody was suitable. And Danielle Meade, you gave a dang good interview for the Financial Advisory Committee. But the Planning Commission is a very busy commission, and Ruth Fernandez has shown that she's done a good job. So for that reason, I would also cast my vote for Ruth.
Okay, then I'll go along with that as well. So, Mayor Pro Tem.
He just left me out, that's all.
You already told me yes.
He already asked me. And yes, Danielle, we had better places for you, but thank you.
So if we need a motion, I would move that we appoint reappoint Ruth Fernandez to the Financial Advisory Committee.
And we'll do a roll call vote for these two. So I have a motion by Councilmember Gregory and a second by Councilmember Lamb. So Councilmember Lamb, Councilmember Gutierrez, Councilmember Gregory.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Carnevale.
Aye.
And the motion carries all ayes.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll move on next to the appoint of the Palm Springs International Airport Commission. I think the best bet, what we're going to do is start with Ernesto Gutierrez and give me your top two choices on the Airport Commission. We'll go down
Mayor,
below.
this is just as difficult. We have 6 representatives. They're all people that want to participate. They're all incredible. They're all intelligent, and they would represent us well. But I have to pick 2 of them, so my top 2 will be Christian Samlanca and Robert Mata.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
I agreed on Christian Samlaska, but my number 2 vote was Christopher Lewis.
Councilmember Gregory.
So again, very, very difficult. But I had marked my first is Christian Samlaska. My second was Jimmy Lechlater.
Councilmember Lamb.
First selection was Christian Samlaska, and second was Christopher Lewis. Thank you.
You're very welcome. My first was Christian, and my second was Bob Mata.
Our number 1 choice is in.
Well, that makes it easy because there's only one seat.
Right.
So I would move that we appoint Christian Samlaska to the open seat on the Palm Springs Airport Commission.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Gregory and a second by Councilmember Lamb. Councilmember Lamb? Councilmember Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilmember Gregory?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ross? Mayor Carnevale?
Aye.
And the motion carries all ayes.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we'll move on to the award agreement for design professional services to STC Traffic, Inc. for the Highway Safety Improvement Program, HSIP, Cycle 11C, Citywide Traffic Signal Hardware Upgrades Project.
That's a mouthful, isn't it, Mayor?
That was good. I was doing it as slow as I can. Do we have
This is a grant-funded project. This is the design contract, and I'm just going to let Andrew Lee from our engineering department give you the presentation. Andrew?
All right. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Temp, and City Council members. Tonight, I'll be presenting the recommendation to award a design professional services agreement for HSIP Cycle 11C citywide traffic signal hardware upgrades. So for the background, we have a timeline of the HSIP, or Highway Safety Improvements Program process, which started with the call for projects back in March of 2022. the city submitted 4 separate HSIP applications or projects, and in March of 2023, Caltrans approved all of Cathedral City's applications. In February of this year, Caltrans authorized the city to proceed with the preliminary engineering or the design phase of the project. Shown on this slide, as mentioned previously, are the 4 projects that were approved for funding. The agenda item for tonight focuses on the HSIP 11C citywide traffic signal hardware upgrades. And shown on this vicinity map are the 49 intersections that will be upgraded with this project. So at the 49 intersections, you'll find these existing signal hardware equipment. You'll find a pedestrian safety light, specifically the high pressure sodium or HPS luminaire. You'll also find internally illuminated street name signs that are mounted directly on the mast arm. And the traffic signal heads have a non-retro reflective backplate. The proposed improvements with the HSIP Cycle 11C project include upgrading the pedestrian safety light to light emitting diode or LED luminaires. The internally illuminated street name signs will be upgraded to be hung on its own arm directly off of the traffic pole. And the backplates for the signal heads will be upgraded to retro reflective. So proposals from design companies were solicited through the request for proposals process. The RFP was first advertised in the Desert Sun and the city website on April 19th, and it ran on the city website until May 3rd. 4 companies submitted proposals. First was Advantech Consulting from Irvine, Kimley Horn and Associates from Palm Desert, STC Traffic from Carlsbad, and Wilden Engineering from San Bernardino. And using the state and federal guidelines for the consultant selection, STC Traffic was determined to be the top-ranked company. So STC Traffic will provide the following design services: preliminary research, which includes inventory and city standards, environmental compliance, specifically the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, creating the plan specifications and cost estimate, and assistance during the bidding process and construction. Okay. So HSIP Cycle 11 was a 90-10 split with a 10% match coming from the city, and city staff is proposing to use the Traffic Safety Fund for the 10% match. So city staff is requesting that the city council award a professional services agreement to STC Traffic in the amount of $84,688.93 to prepare the preliminary engineering documents for the HSIP Cycle 11 citywide traffic signal hardware upgrades project, and to authorize the city manager to execute the contract. And with that, I will hand it back to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew, for that. And I do see Councilmember Gutierrez.
Andrew, good afternoon. I just have a question. Since we're doing all this upgrading, what are and the lighting and everything, what color are the street signs going to be? Are they going to remain the same color or be changed?
I believe they're going to stay the same, the blue.
Blue?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Ross?
I have a conundrum, and I bet every engineer out there has it too. So I'm hoping maybe you've thought about it more than I. Those lighted signs are really superior to the metal signs. You know, you can see them, they're great in the evenings, and people have a tendency to throw rocks at them. So I bet you've seen lots of them with the plastic broken out. How do you go forward with that mixed, I'm so loud, I can't believe people are hearing me, with that mixed bag of tricks? I mean, one works better, but it's certainly more, it's more likely to be damaged.
Yeah, that's a great question, Mayor Pro Temp, and I'm not sure the best engineering solution for that
I mean, don't
issue,
you guys talk about that? Hey, these things are great, they light up, everybody can see them, but they also throw rocks at them, and then they aren't lighted. I mean, they aren't a street sign anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to have to refer to the city engineer or director
He's not
of
even
engineering.
smiling.
recommend.
No, I mean, you don't even have to get up. It's just kind of a no-brainer kind of a thing, but
Well, I see Public Works is here. Is that something you see very often? I usually see them damaged by wind if they're damaged. I don't know if I've seen rocks.
I just assumed they were rocks. Council member.
No, normally damaged
Because they're
by-
holes, I imagine because they were holes.
They're
they were
normally
rocks.
damaged by the wind and the particles from the sand. When we get above 35 miles an hour, they'll do some damage and scratch them up, and we just replace them. If it
Yeah,
gets
so
bad and
I've
you
seen
can't see
circle
it.
holes, almost like
Yeah.
big snowballs hit them.
Oh, no, I haven't run into that.
No, snowballs
And
have
if
actually
anything,
hit them.
they fade first. Like
Yeah, I haven't
the
noticed
sun
that so
will
much.
just, for us, they'll go down because of the sun and the wind.
Is there a heavier street light or street signs that are available
I
for
think
purchase? That are
with
still
the,
lighted?
I think it's actually, with the new system where they're going to put it and hang it similar to what Rancho Mirage does away
Right.
from the pole, that is going to protect them longer. The way that we currently have it now is, I believe, is what's causing some of the problems. They're not allowed to,
They don't swing.
they don't swing, and they get hit hard and they get damaged from that. So I think with the new system, and from my experience, I've seen like Rancho Mirages last longer than ours have.
I will look forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
And council, anyone else? Any public comments?
I did not receive any request to speak forms for this item, but if you're a member of the public and you wish to provide comments on this item, please raise your hand. And I see none.
Council, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Oops. The motion carries all ayes.
Great, good news. Contract award for homeless encampment cleanup services. Wait, did I miss one?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a new contract. We did a new RFP for homeless encampment cleanup and some other services that are included in that. Deanna Pressgrove, our Public Works Manager, will present this item.
Thank you, City Manager. Mayor and City Council members, I am your Public Works Manager, and I'm going to give you an update on our homeless encampment cleanup services and programs. So this falls under our community investment in our Embracing Inclusive Cities within our 5-year strategic plan. A little background on the program, as most of you are aware, this was developed back in November of 2015. The program was designed to humanely handle issues related to homelessness and develop solutions around servicing our homeless population, particularly those that struggle with mental illness and drug addictions. The program is intended to provide homeless residents and businesses with a public safety point of contact, which is our police department, outreach and enforcement of municipal and criminal codes, with the goal of improving the quality of life for all our residents who live in Cathedral City. So part of that program is the cleanup process. So after the officers work with the homeless person or the unhoused person, we have to clean up their camps. We go in afterwards. So police are usually dispatched first to clear the area of the unhoused, but then we're left with debris. So what we do is the police department contacts the Public Works Department, and then I schedule with the contractor to go out and clean out the debris. And the debris will be hazardous materials, just regular trash, large bulky items, and then we get it cleaned up and we dispose of it properly. In December of 2021, the city awarded a 2-year agreement for the homeless encampment cleanup services. And since the agreement was executed, we have removed a total of 2,121 homeless encampments, and that averaged around 13 camps per week. Now, what we've done over the last couple of years is we've been able to get better at tracking our homeless encampments. So now, if you look at our invoices, they say how many camps per location. So we do like Ramon Road Bridge or behind Denny's or underneath the Dinah Shore Bridge. So we're more specific on the invoice. And I eventually want to get to where we have like the GPS system like we do for graffiti and for
what's the other one? Oh, My Cathedral City app, because the GPS, because when you're out there under a bridge or you're on a vacant lot, there's no property line to tell you exactly who owns that parcel and who's responsible. Under the bridge can be multiple. It can be the flood control owns this portion, the tribal owns is met for this, and then Cathedral City is responsible for the top part. So it can get very confusing, and it's not consistent from Date Palm to the Dinah Shore Bridge. So my hope is that what we'll do is we'll get to a GPS so that when we have our before and after photos, which we do right now, we'll be able to identify exactly who owns that parcel. What we've been working with a task force in the city that involves the city manager's office, police department, code compliance, is with the invoices for the last few years, we've been able to do a chart to show where we're at most of the time, where we're spending most of our resources to remove camps. And we've been able to come together to start reaching out to the property owners to work on solutions. And they're all different for each location. We have a meeting at the 1st of July with the tribal that'll help us with the Ramon Road Bridge, because there is a section that's their responsibility. The police department reached out to them, and we have a meeting in July with their maintenance department. So no disrespect to the higher up people, but the maintenance department people is who we want their attention, so that we can start working on programs that where either they stay on top of it so we don't have to, or we work on repairing the fence so there's no access, creating berms, whatever solution will work to actually stop or prohibit the camps. Yeah. We'll try to get there. We're going to solve the problem and get an award and solve all of California's problem. How about that? In addition to who we worked with the last couple of years, in addition to the homeless cleanup programs, we also have, we've tapped into the contractor to do additional services like the Dream Homes Community Cleanup Program, the Residential Community Assistance Program, the Environmental Gardens. Those are all paid out of the 246 Environmental Fund. This is a partnership with Code Compliance, who identifies a location, a home, especially like in that big massive cleanup project we did for Dream Homes, where we actually had the contractor go out. He meets with the resident, he reviews all of their debris in their backyard or their front yard, and then he schedules the roll-off, which the city covers the cost of, to get delivered to the property, and then it's like a 50-50. They go and they provide the labor, we provide the roll-off. And anything that cannot be placed inside of the roll-off, the contractor would then turn around and go back and pick up the tires and the hazardous waste material that they can't put in the roll-off. So we've been doing that for a few years now, and that's been a very successful program. Gardens, the same thing. We have gardens at our 55 and older communities in our schools. For the most part, the schools maintenance crews will take care of the gardens, but if there's anything big, then the contractor has the background and the approval to go into the school and go ahead and just fix it for them and get back out. We help the Boys and Girls Club with the garden that we've built there, and so on. And then public arts, the maintenance of the public arts pieces is also included, is a program we've been doing the last couple of years as well under this, with this contractor. So we went recently out for a request for proposals. We advertised in May of this year. We did the Desert Sun, we did our website. Firms were asked to provide qualifications to perform work on an on-call basis. We also advised all people that were going to submit proposals that they needed to work, they're going to be working with the police and the Public Works Department. We also asked for cost proposals, which we kept separate from the RFP. So we reviewed the RFP first. Then the highest selection, we went and reviewed the cost proposal, which includes their hourly rate and how much it would cost to perform the services. So the request for proposals, we received 4, and it's listed here on the screen from 4 agencies in the location. The proposals were reviewed, evaluated, and scored by city staff using federal and state evaluation protocols. Based on the evaluations, it was determined that Signature Cleanup is the most qualified, responsive, and knowledgeable firm demonstrating an understanding of what we require of them. Proposal provided staff with the assurance that if selected, the performance of any typical or extraordinary task that may be ordered by the city would be completed within the time prescribed, or within a time period. We really like to try to get to these camps and get them cleaned up quickly so that they don't accumulate even bigger and become more of a problem. Then we opened up Signature's cost proposal. We reviewed the rates and compared them to the rates that were submitted in 2021. And overall, the 11% increase for hourly rates, vehicle fee, equipment fee, and fuel were included. So it was an 11% increase from 2021 to 2024, and mobilization as well. So the recommendation tonight is staff is requesting City Council approve a 3-year as-needed service contract to Signature Cleanup for the homeless encampment cleanup services and support services in the amount not to exceed $200,000 for homeless encampment cleanup services, $120,000 from environmental support services, and $20,000 for public arts maintenance. This would commence starting on the 2024-2025 fiscal year with an option to extend an additional 2 years in 1-year increments and authorize the city manager to execute the contract. And with that, that ends my presentation. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Gregory?
I thank you, Deanna, for the presentation and for, of course, all the work you do. And I know that Signature Cleanup has been a partner with the city for a long time. And but I'm a little bit, I question the way this has gone out. And I'm not necessarily suggesting that we change anything for this term, but I think we're relying on history as we're putting this request for proposals out, because you have your waste removal, homeless cleanup, and neighborhood cleanup. That seems to be one type of work, and it requires a certain skill and some biohazard training and all that kind of stuff. And then you kind of have your garden program and your other general labor, which probably a different class of employees could do. So again, without seeing the pricing in there, I'm assuming that the one specialized one, you would be allowing maybe more costs because they would have to have they would have to maybe do biosuits and all that kind of stuff. The second one, they wouldn't have to. And then you've got that little other one that is the public art cleanup. And that works with this vendor because that's what they've historically done, and they have the skills for that. But it makes me wonder if we shouldn't, now that we're growing and growing and growing, if we shouldn't consider separating those into more logical. And it might end up with the same vendor, but you might allow another vendor that could come in on parts of that and give the city a little bit better value on some of them. And I'm not trying to disrespect the vendor we have, because I know they've been very flexible with the city over the years. But again, as we're doing these, we're trying to look for best value for the taxpayers. So I think at this point, so late in the game, I am supportive of this proposal going forward, but I wanted to bring that up because it'll be 3 years, and they could have plenty of warning too, that probably next, then he would give you a chance to look with the rest of city management as to, well, should these all be bid as one contract or separated out, at least in 2 or 3 parts, because they do appear to be somewhat different skill sets. They're related, so it's made some sense that it's kind of evolved this way, but I think they're getting large enough, each of those individual costs, that it might make sense to bid those out separately.
Understood. Yeah, I agree.
And then the other question I had to do with just the bid evaluation, because both your presentation and the book say the bids were evaluated by a city staff?
No, 4.
Oh, so who did the evaluation, if you don't mind, or at least their positions?
There was one from the police department, and the other ones were from engineering, and I have one other one in there too, and I can't remember which department. But it was not myself or anybody that works directly with.
Okay. Well, it's just for these bid evaluations, especially these ones that are done on qualifications, and then you open the envelope and say, oh, that cost is reasonable.
Yeah.
The other ones, as long as they can meet all the criteria, then you kind of go by cost. But this one wasn't done by cost. It was done by the criteria. We had another one from Public Works earlier that was, it did talk about it, that it was evaluated by a team of city staff, and they followed a certain, criteria. So I'm glad to hear that it was a
Yeah, we
team.
followed the
Not that
same,
you wouldn't
yeah.
be able to excellently evaluate them, but
And
I
I
think
don't
all
want
of these
to,
really
yeah.
should be done by some type of a professional team. So maybe just in the future, because it does say a city staff in both
Yeah,
your
I'll
presentation and
update
there.
that,
So
yeah.
it would
No,
be
it is a
better to maybe articulate, like I say, some of the language they have is really good, that it was done by a team, and that and if there was any criteria followed. So. Okay, and I'm glad to hear that. It's just not outlined in any of the
in the staff
documentation that us or the public sees. So I think that's important, because we want the public to have confidence that we're following a process. So I'm glad to hear we were. Just my suggestion for our future would be that we watch that language. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Gregory, would you suggest instead of going 3-year contract, just go with the 2? Or even 1 and then research it, have staff research it, or are you comfortable with the 3 years?
Well, my understanding is a 1-year contract with 2-year renewals. So if city staff did their research in a year and they felt like there was good value, I don't think there would be anything from stopping them from
No, there would be nothing to,
rebidding
yeah,
it.
if we
But
looked at it.
I don't want to tie staff with that. And it is a company we traditionally use. I don't have anything against them again, but this kind of gets in what we've been doing, is trying to be more business-like, I guess you would say, and give fair review. So I don't have any problem myself personally voting for the one with the 2-year renewal, and then I would leave it up to staff, city management, and public works staff, whether they felt that it was prudent to do before the end of the extensions, or whether they wanted to exercise it somewhere in there if they thought they could get better value. So thank you. It's a great question.
Thank you very much. Point well taken. Council, anyone else would like to speak? Public comment?
I don't have any request to speak forms for this item, but if you're a member of the public and you wish to provide public comment, please raise your hand. And I see no hands raised,
Thank you
Mayor.
for that, Deanna. Appreciate it so much. Okay, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the contract for homeless and campus cleanup services and other support.
Got it?
Yeah, just now, but I'm not, the
comes
light
up.
doesn't come up.
Try it again.
No, it's this right here, but it's just not coming. The light, I mean, I've got the circles with the words, but no light.
Go there, double click. There you go.
Oh, you could turn your own light on.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was blue. Okay.
So the motion carries, all ayes.
All right, thank you very much. Award construction contract for the soil removal from the Ophelia Bringus Memorial Bridge grade control structure on the Date Palm and the Date Palm Drive Bridge, channel lining to Conterra Construction Corporation. Do we have a staff report, Mr. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. Andres Perez from our engineering department will present this item. This is yet another item that we're incurring as a result of the flooding caused by Tropical Storm Hilary. It will be a FEMA reimbursement eligible project, and Andres will describe all of that in the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. City Manager, for the introduction. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and city staff. Pleasure to be here today to present this award contract for soil removal from the Ophelia Bringus Memorial Bridge grade control structure and the Date Palm Drive Bridge channel lining. Now, as mentioned earlier, we all know of the event that happened, the Tropical Storm Hilary event that took place last August. This was, as we learned, this was a 1,000-year storm event, which brought flood-off water containing tons of soil and debris, not only into our city neighborhoods, but also the Whitewater River channel. And it also raised the stream bed elevation of the channel. Now, some background on the Whitewater River channel. This is a flood protection facility that runs along the Coachella Valley, and it is the largest receiver of floodwater for the city of Cathedral City. Now, at these roadway crossings, we have constructed bridges such as the Cathedral County and Ophelia Bringus Memorial Bridge, or the Date Palm Bridge. Now, in addition to the construction of these bridge structures, the city also performed constructed channel improvements. Channel improvements such as the drop structures, channel slope lining, and articulated concrete block mat, I have an example of the drop structure and channel slope lining here, the picture to your right. Now what these structures do is they protect the bridge structure. They essentially slow down the velocity of the runoff water and provide some erosion control for the bridge structures. Now, as mentioned earlier, the Tropical Storm Hilary flood brought tons of, the flood water also contained tons of soil and debris. And as you can see here in the before and after, you have the channel, what it looked like before the channel improvements before the storm, and the increased elevation after the storm. And this is for the Ophelia Bringus Memorial Bridge. And similar downstream, we have the Day Palm Bridge where the elevation increased for these structures. The steam bed elevation is higher than before. Now, the goal of this project is to return these structures back to their design condition so they can further protect the bridge constructors in the event of another storm. Also provide us the opportunity to provide some inspection of the bridge piers at the Ophelia Bringus Memorial Bridge and the Day Palm Bridge. So what's the goal in mind? Here you have the project vicinity map for the soil removal to take place under the Ophelia Bringus Memorial Bridge and the Day Palm Drive Bridge. So staff issued an invitation to bid in the Desert Sun on May 1st, and also placed an invitation to bid on the Cathedral City website and the Planet Printworks plan room. 21 days later, we opened the bid, and we received a total of 9 bids from contractors. Now, the lowest responsible bid came from Contractor Construction Corporation out of Temecula, California, just under $2.7 million. Now, in addition to this big construction amount, staff is also recommending including a 15% contingency for any unforeseen construction cost, making the total amount of this contract to be just under $3.01 million. Now, the authorization for funding of the soil removal as a permanent repair work will require an amendment to our fiscal year 24-25 budget in the amount previously mentioned. Now, this is in line with our 5-year strategic plan, Goal B, community investment, and Goal E, safety. Thus, as detailed in your staff report, staff recommends City Council award a construction contract to Conterra Construction Corporation in the amount of just under $2.7 million, approve a 15% contingency of $404,000 for any unforeseen construction costs, thereby making the total amount just under $3.01 million, and approve and authorize a budget amendment from the general fund to complete the project, and authorize the city manager to execute the required contract documents, and authorize the city engineer to request bonds and insurance for the project and issue the notice to proceed. So with that, this concludes my presentation, and I'd like to hand it back to you.
All right, thank you.
Mayor.
Councilmember Gregory?
I always have something to say. Actually, I don't have any issue with the bid or the project. I know it needs to be done, but I just wanted to ask some questions about the budget amendment. So it might be something the city manager can answer. So recently we saw a nice chart, and it showed our budget, and it showed us digging into the hole, and we can't count on some of these reimbursements, but we're going to work and so we don't dig down into the hole. So this amount was not included in that chart, is that correct?
That is correct, Councilmember Gregory, and that's the one that showed that at the end of fiscal year 24-25 that our fund balance reserves would drop to 34%, I think it was. And so this will decrease that amount. However, our intent is to come with a full comprehensive budget analysis of the fiscal year 24-25 budget in the fall. By then, the dust will have settled from 23-24, so we'll have a good idea of what the actual carry forward fund balance is. And we will include an analysis of what the effect of this will be, and also some potential things that we can do to prevent further decreases in our fund balance. So we intend to include this in a comprehensive review of where we stand. Probably that'll come in October. Isn't that the plan, Kevin? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. And I know we can't count on reimbursement, but is there some thought about reimbursement in this expense?
We believe this is a pretty, as close to a slam dunk as you can get with FEMA. It clearly meets the qualifications, and in fact, we have had discussions with them already. So that will pay 75% from them, and then Cal OES will pay 75% of the remaining 25%, which leaves our piece at about 6.75.
All right.
My math is
All right, that's good, but that's probably not going to happen in time for
in
that.
all likelihood in the same fiscal year. And this is the conservative part of that entire budget analysis we showed you, is we didn't assume any reimbursements anywhere because they will in all likelihood occur further out in the future. Based on our history with FEMA reimbursements, they tend to take some time.
Okay. All right, well, that's the part that's not good news. Getting this done and getting a decent, bid and a lot of bidders is good news, but it's not good news. But it does seem like we knew that we were going to have Tropical Storm Hillary expenses, so I'm not critical of that. I just want to make sure we get a full financial picture and the public is aware and the rest of the council is. We are technically digging ourselves further in the hole with some strong thoughts of reimbursement, but that the city manager and the finance department is on top of that, and it's going to be revealed to us in October, we would expect, right? So, all right, thank you.
Well said, and I'll just add, we cannot inspect the bridge piers or the abutments until the soil's removed. So it's an open project with FEMA right now, and the soil needs to be removed because the bridge inspection is the part B, and if there is damage to the bridge, then that could be eligible for reimbursement too.
Well, that's even scarier because again, we'd have to come up with the money for that up front.
I have confidence.
So I hope it's nice soft sand that made its way down there. So.
I have confidence that the bridges are okay, but the amount of soil in there merits the inspection.
Yeah, we understand. It may not be the end of the story. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
You betcha. Councilmember Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mayor. My question is, how much soil in either direction will it be removed? How far back, east and west of both bridges?
Now, the limits are within the channels, the channel improvements for each bridge structure. So we do have an estimated amount of 110,000 cubic yards to be removed, but I don't know off the top of my head the exact east and west limits, but. So here are our limits of within the limits of the channel improvements that we constructed for the Day Palm Bridge and Ophelia Bringus Memorial Bridge.
But you don't have a linear feet as to either direction because there's soil or sediment probably for a mile in either direction.
It's not gonna. I don't have the exact linear feet, but it's only within the vicinity of the bridges. We're not going to continue well past those channel improvements, and there's a clear improvement line for both structures that you can tell where the channel structure begins and ends.
And if I can add, Councilmember Gutierrez, the scope of this project and the part that actually is eligible for the reimbursements is to uncover the drop structures and the channel linings and the piers to make sure there's no damage to the bridge. So it will be within the limits of those areas that we constructed as part of the bridge for the drop structures and the channel linings.
So next year during our rainy season, once we get once it rains again and the water runs, a lot of the soil and sediment will run back because it goes so far back. It goes all the way back pretty much to Gene Autry, Indian, and that's going to travel all the way back, and immediately it's going to do the same thing. So what's going to happen then?
There is always the potential in future storm events for additional debris or sand or whatever. It's not possible for us or any other agency to go miles downstream or upstream of these bridge structures and clear the channels out. Nature is already taking care of some of that. Every time the wind blows, we have issues with the sand blowing out. Things like that are going to happen, but it's just not feasible to go further on this. If there's 110,000 cubic feet of dirt that has to be removed in this, if you went a mile in either direction, you'd be talking millions of cubic feet of soil to be removed. And
So might I clarify something that might sort of clear this up? It's not as if they're going to come to some point, dig down and pull out all of this. I mean, whatever it's going to be, it'll be feathered out at the edges. It's not going to look like you've come and taken a box out around the bridge, is it?
No, we're
No,
starting.
of course not.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be that, it will already be feathered. Do you even say that anymore? I'm from the generation that our hair was feathered.
Just so they could drive down in there, I would assume. They're going to have to do some work. But, I mean, you raise a good point, council member, but at some point, we're responsible for the bridges. Cathedral City is, somebody else technically is responsible for the channel. We don't own the channel. So I think what you're saying is a good point, but it sounds to me like the main goal here is, of course, to empty those structures so they can be back functioning. But the other main function is so we can examine them and make any repairs that need to be done. So you raise a good point, and I wonder if there is any entity out there that's looking and saying, hey, is this channel eventually going to have to be dredged like the whole channel, or else it'll eventually, get a couple more of these and it'll fill up. So, but I don't think that's what this project is. Or do I think that would be the city's responsibility? That sounds like that would be somebody else's responsibility that's responsible for the water flow.
It would not, and the interesting thing is, sometimes when floods come through, you end up with less dirt. The 2019 Valentine's Day flood, correct me if I'm remembering this incorrectly, John, but it was more of a scouring flood where there actually was less dirt in there than there was before. This one was the opposite. So it's difficult to say, even with another storm event, that it's going to behave in the same manner that this one did.
And that actual land belongs to Desert Water?
There is a complicated mix of ownerships through the channel. You have Riverside Flood Control District, you have Coachella Valley Water District, you have private ownership in some cases, you have tribal property, a lot of it is tribal property, so it's a very complicated mix of ownership.
And do we
throughout.
have any agreements with any of them?
When we built these bridges, kind of forced on us because we're responsible for maintaining under the bridge. Something that's going to be brought to you in the next meeting for the Ramon Road Bridge. We're entering a maintenance agreement with CVWD to maintain our side under the bridge because all the improvements made in the channel are protecting the bridge. They're not protecting the rest of the channel. So the drop structures at each one of the bridge, the Petromat, which are huge concrete blocks under the Date Palm Bridge, those are made to protect that bridge itself. Not the channel, but the bridge. And so we're responsible for that. And that's all we're doing here is we're looking at and maintaining the things we're responsible for.
Thank you.
I said, okay, I don't really know what a petro something is. What is that?
It's a concrete block designed to reduce erosion under the.
He can't just say concrete block, can he? He just can't say that.
Specialized concrete block that we have.
Thank you.
Concrete mat.
Engineers are like the French. They have a different word for everything.
That's right. But they don't have funny hats.
Industry termination, industry stuff. Public comments?
I do not have any request to speak forms for this item. If you're a member of the public and you wish to provide public comment, please raise your hand.
Thank you for the presentation. Not seeing any. Do we have a vote?
Move approval?
A second. You guys are halfway out the door, aren't you? I can see you both down there.
The motion carries, all ayes.
Thank you very much. Item E, contract award for building plan check and inspection services. Do we have a staff report, Mr. City?
Thank you, Mayor. Andy Firestein, our Director of Community and Economic Development, will present this item. I'm really happy to bring this forward. It moves us into the 21st century in terms of being able to do electronic plan review and reduces our costs. So it's a win all the way around. Andy?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and thank you for that introduction, City Manager. I am excited about this item. This does bring us well into the 21st century, and I would say that this is critical for our operations. This is not just an award of a contract, but this is an award of a contract that will allow us to optimize our business practices and to make us more responsive, to make us more efficient in the way that we work. This is tied to the implementation of EnerGov and our electronic plan review software. In a lot of ways, that's a tool to enable staff to work more efficiently and work more effectively, allows us to be more responsive to the public. At the same time, though, we need our contracted third-party service provider to be operating the same way. And as we looked at our current contract, it was last bid in 2007, it doesn't reflect this. It doesn't reflect the way that we intend to work today, tomorrow, and into the future. So Jeremy Fry, our building official, and I looked at this, and as we started July, September of last year, we recognized that as we implemented EnerGov, this was a need. We needed to rebid this contract. We needed to identify a partner that could work the way that we want it to work. So I am excited today to share with you that we did go through an RFP process. We put this out to bid. We substantially rewrote the scope of work to reflect our expectations for this contract, that we expect a contractor to perform electronic plan review using Bluebeam software and working within the EnerGov and EPL software. So we're no longer couriering paper copies of plans out to Irvine. We're no longer using shadow systems, but we're using the tools and the software that we have. We also put building inspection services in here. That is an augmentation of staff. We do have a building inspector, but we are looking to provide next day inspections and to be responsive to the community. So this staff augmentation allows us to meet that goal to the business community. So we rewrote the scope of work to include all of these needs, put it out for bid in March, closed that in April. We received a total of 10 responses to the RFP, and we invited in 3 firms for in-person interviews. Jeremy Fry, Jesse Castaneda, and I reviewed the proposals and participated in the interviews. Through that, we identified HR Green as the most qualified contractor. HR Green is able to meet the city's needs for both plan check as well as inspection services. They demonstrated clearly their ability to work within EnerGov as well to use Bluebeam software, and they have demonstrated a commitment to minimize the plan check review time. This came up in the proposal, it came up in the interview. They want to turn plan checks around in 3 reviews or less. And they're able to do that, and they've demonstrated that they've done that 95% of the time. So we are setting that as a benchmark. We are setting that as a goal for our contract performance. They've also demonstrated a highly responsive level of customer service, and this falls right within our ethos. We want to do a quality check when an application comes in and to make sure that all the elements are there. Let's not waste a plan check. Let's not waste someone's time if there's an element that's missing. We don't need to go 4 weeks just to say you didn't have a complete submittal. So we really appreciated the level of customer service they demonstrated in their submittal. They also have the bandwidth and experience to accommodate our inspection needs. So truly this is a one-stop shop for us for building services, for plan check and inspection services. So our budget for the next fiscal year includes a $360,000 professional services line item. This is for third-party plan check and inspection services. This is based on the fees that we take in. I'd like to say that it is a revenue share model. So as we take in permit fees for those permits that are reviewed by HR Green, they'll take a share of that. So in that sense, are always in the black. If we take in revenue, we have revenue to pay our contractor. It is based on a sliding scale. Currently, our Our vendor takes 75% of the plan check fees. HR Green is proposing to take between 55 and 70%, really depending on our utilization of HR Green for plan check services. Based on our current utilization, I would expect that we're going to be closer to the 70% mark, but the rate is competitive, and it was competitive with the other submittals. The inspections are performed at an hourly rate. This ties in extremely well with the study session that we had earlier today and the strategic plan. This is a great demonstration of an augmentation of staff. We have reach-back support when we need it, when there is peak demand for building permits and inspection services. We have a contractor that we can go to perform that work. And with that, staff is recommending that council approve a professional services agreement with HR Green for 3 years with 2 one-year extensions, and authorize the city manager to approve those one-year extensions. With that, I'll turn this over to you.
Thank you, Andy. I don't see any council questions or comments.
Do, but I didn't click.
Very well written, and a savings, and a very well-known reputable firm. And actually, that's what we call getting good value there, so that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Public comments?
I don't have any requests to speak for this item, but if you are a member of the public and you wish to provide public comment at this time, please raise your hand. And I see no hands raised.
Andy, I believe Mayor Pro Tem has a question.
Oh.
Or a comment.
Just a short question. How far are they traveling to get to Cathedral City to do plan checks?
So they're all electronic.
Oh, so they're not coming to do inspections at all in
Inspections,
person?
yes. Plan check is remote.
I said plan check. I really meant
So
inspections.
they have an inspector that's available to start July 1st. I don't know where the inspector is coming from, but he was working in a contract in another city within the area, and will be starting with us on July 1st, provided we can execute the contract.
Congratulations. And, you know, all the people in the room right now know this, but just 3-4 years ago, we've just come so far.
We have.
Really, so far. It's all, I guess it just builds, right? You just keep getting bigger and bigger, but it's great.
Thank
Really
you.
proud of all you guys. Really, truly.
Do we have a motion?
The motion carries, all ayes.
Excellent. Thank you again, Andy. Appreciate that. Council Subcommittee funding recommendation for the 2024-25 Community Assistant Grant Program. Mr. City Manager, do we have a staff report?
Thank you. Kevin Biersack, our Financial Services Director, will present this item. You appointed a subcommittee to review the grant requests a few meetings ago. That was Councilmember Gutierrez and Councilmember Lamb, I believe. And they have completed their work, and these are their recommendations to you all, and we're seeking a ratification of the recommendations. Kevin?
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council staff. As the City Manager said, this is the upcoming fiscal year 24-25 Community Assistance Grant Program. So here we go. Questions as we go along, or save them to the end, please. Thank you. For the listening audience, the upcoming fiscal year does start 1 July, and in year 2 of our budget, we already have planned, based on City Council approval for this program, $70,000 for nonprofit organizations and other governmental jurisdictions that meet the criteria. This is the second year of this program. This was a program that we had in a little bit of a different version pre-COVID, and we had about 3 years where we didn't have the program, so it has been reinstituted and was planned for in this current biennial budget. Last year, 25 applications, and our subcommittee last year determined that 19 of those 25 were deemed worthy with respect to their fair share of that $70,000 pot based on their asks and what they were granted. This year we had 10 applications, 9 of which were recommended for an award. So back in March, we came to you, you appointed the ad hoc committee that the city manager made reference to, for that committee to review the applications and make a recommendation for full council governing body formal action. The program was advertised on March the 15th for a 30-day period, and we requested grant applications to be submitted a month later on tax day, April 15th. The grant program and the application were sent to local media, advertised on the city's website, loaded on social media accounts, and included on our Discover Cathedral City website to include the notice of publication. Back on May 15th, just last month, we met with the subcommittee, Councilmember Gutierrez, Councilmember Lamb. We convened that review, and they came prepared. They had redone their due diligence and came with their comments. As a result of those subcommittee recommendations being finalized, the grant awards are being presented to you, all 5 of you, for your review and approval. As we said, 10 were applied, 9 were recommended. 1 did not meet the 4 criteria listed below. These are the organizations. Notice we love color, yellow. Yellow identifies the 2 organizations that when all was said and done, the subcommittee for the $70,000, we were at $56,500 of grant recommended awards. So we had $13,500 remaining. And with respect to that discussion tied to that $13,500, the subcommittee wanted to use that $13,500. And it was determined that 2 of the 9 that were being awarded really service Cathedral City in its entirety. And so those 2 were the Cathedral City Senior Center and Dinner with Patsy.
So let me ask. So I know I've been involved with this before, and part of the application process is they spell out how they're going to use the money if it's awarded. So if they spell, like the senior center, if they spelled out how they're going to use $10,000, did they also spell out how they would use more if they had it?
They did not.
And so the same thing with Dinner with Patsy. I'm assuming that organization spelled out how it would use $6,000, but there was an additional $8,500 awarded.
You are correct, sir.
And did they spell out how they were going to use it?
We have not gone back to them and asked them that.
That seems unusual for this type of an award for me. It's not, this type of award isn't just to be a gift or general support. They're supposed to outline how they're going to use it, if I'm not mistaken.
And I believe, and the subcommittee can correct me if I'm wrong based on the assumption, and that is that they would do more of the same based on what they outlined with respect to in their application, and it would provide them that more funding. Now, what we can do, if you, the governing body, would like us to, we can go back to those organizations and ask for an amendment. That would be an
Well, I think that's
opportunity.
what you would normally see for this type of a grant, or in the process, you would have gone back and said, you know, we have additional funding. Do you have an additional need? Because basically you're giving these nonprofits more than they said they could use on the assumption that they're ongoing nonprofits and they could use it, but that's
a valid point.
That's usually not what these kind of grants, because they require them to, I mean, there's even criteria that they're graded on, which it's not spelled out in here, but I remember the original that was, oh yeah, it's spelled out in here, that they had to meet health and human services needs of underserved populations. So I'm sure they articulated that.
Yes.
But for the amount that they said.
Yes, ma'am.
And I have, I brought my little booklet with me. You can
Oh. So when I met with the city manager, I asked if we could, as a council, if we could see the applications, but we didn't get, apparently we didn't get them sent to us, so after that.
We were just being consistent with what we did last year. Last year, it was the subcommittee, and we did the same thing this year. If we need to change that practice, we can do that.
Okay, well, especially when you have unusual things like this that they, so what was your thinking, subcommittee, that you can start with the senior center if you want, that, what did they say they were going to use it for, and is it clear that they'll be able to use 5,000 more?
Yes. And here's the grant for the Cathedral City Senior Center. It was the grant amount requested, the minimum $1,000 to a maximum $10,000. Those are the parameters. So they were requesting $10,000, and it was to support their food bank. And the total cost of their program is $377,000.
So that's helpful.
And so, as we were talking about this, you know, the priority was for the support for Cathedral City residents and the seniors through this program. And so that's what the decision-making came.
All right, and so how about the dinner?
So it's not a specific thing about, you know.
So how about yeah, but you raised another point that you tell them that the maximum is $10,000, and that's what we put out to all of the groups, and then you awarded more than $10,000 to two of the groups.
And that, you know, that is, you know, I'll certainly take responsibility for that.
Well, I don't think you're responsible for it, but we actually voted on the criteria before and appointed the committee, and then you didn't follow the criteria because you voted more money to one group than what was allowed in the criteria.
One of the reasons was because we did have money left over, and since we had $70,000 that we could actually grant to charities, there was only 10 charities, and the total amount that it was requested, it was much less than $70,000. So our number one issue was to make sure that whichever charitable organizations we chose was to make sure that the value was to be providing services to our local residents, and which charities actually provide the most services to our local residents. Therefore, the money that was left over, we just divided that into those two organizations that serve our community the best. That's simply what we did.
I see. But what I'm saying is there was a voted upon criteria as to how this was to be done, and technically didn't follow the criteria. Another option would have been to reopen it up, you know, we had $70,000 available. We only used this much. So we're going to do a round two, or, you know, we're going to go back to these charities. And in that round two, we're going to raise it, the total. But that's what I'm just saying. I don't know if there's a legal issue with this, Mr. City Attorney, if we publish a criteria and we vote upon it as a council and appoint a subcommittee. If the subcommittee comes back and technically went above what the criteria allowed?
My understanding is this isn't CDBG money or other federal funds, it's just
general fund.
General funds. And the council always has the right and ability to move these around and make its own judgment and discretion. So in this case, if you wanted to award more than an applicant had awarded, I think it's in your authority to do that. You might have wanted to invite them up to say, what are you going to do with the money? But
Right.
I don't think you're going to be in a gift of public funds or outside of your authority to do that.
All right. Okay, if you don't mind, since I wasn't allowed to see the applications, can you articulate what the Dinner with Patsy is going to do? It's more than double. They went from $6,000 requested, and now they're $14,500. I'm of course familiar with the charity, but this was supposed to be a structured way to give it. So is there something there where they spelled out where they could use additional funding?
Right. It says if funds are received, Dinner with Patsy, we use the grant to expand Brunches with Patsy, bringing in smaller nonprofits into the Patsy family. Money will also be used to fund Stop the Bleed and preparing for an active shooter trainings. Sponsorship of food and supply drives for the Cathedral City Police Department Home Liaison, Loving All Animals, and the Cathedral City Senior Center. Purchase of a banner for the city's banner program, sponsorship of other events to further the Dinner with Patsy brand, buy a van for the club, for the Boys and Girls Club of Cathedral City to help pick up more children from school to come to the club. And finally, the presentation of scholarships to the Cathedral City High School Choir, Safe Schools, and the Youth of the Year for the Boys and the Girls Club of Cathedral City.
I'm very familiar with one of those charities.
So that was
So their intent was to use it to redistribute to
Yes.
other charities
Right.
or hold events to raise money for those charities. Okay.
Patsy is already,
All right.
as the bedrock of the Patsy brand, to expand it to help nonprofits here in Cathedral City.
Okay. All right, well, I'm familiar with that organization too. So the one that I'm not familiar with, so this was the other thing I asked for more information on, but I wasn't provided, was 65 Check. I don't know what that is, and when I looked them up, it appears that you can send them an email, and then it talks a little bit about that what they do is they try to contact people 65 or older, but it's not clear if they're already operating and if they are not, or if this is a future operation. And the business is apparently licensed with the Secretary of State to an apartment there in the same complex as the senior center. So,
And it was confusing for us based on the original application.
And I can speak to that also. The 65, this initiative is an expansion or an improvement or basically an upgrade of the Friendly Collar program. And the Friendly Collar program is a program that started at the Cathedral City Senior Center when Robert McKechnie was the executive director. I happened to be on the board. And what it was a program where they asked volunteers. Wait a second, we're having.
He made me laugh as I swallowed.
Okay, are you okay?
I'm okay, I just have, it's water. We all swallow water wrong sometimes.
Okay.
All right.
So to contact seniors, and so there was a calling list and the volunteers would call. So I'll read you the paragraph. The requested funds will be strategically allocated to enhance and professionalize 65 Check, an innovative Cathedral City-based initiative aimed at improving the well-being of seniors through wellness checks. This initiative will see 65 Check integrate into the Cathedral City Senior Center's new Mid-Valley Wellness Center program, becoming a key partner in addressing health and social services. This collaboration will add a crucial service to the Senior Center's effort to combat loneliness and isolation among the elderly. Previously, the center operated a Friendly Collar program supported by volunteers. As the demand for this service grew, the center upgraded to automated calling technology, which has now become outdated. The partnership with 65 Check will bring a significant upgrade by leveraging state-of-the-art technology to ensure consistent, effective engagement with seniors. The allocation of a $10,000 grant will specifically support the establishment of 65 Check services within Cathedral City, particularly at the Senior Center, serving as a pilot to evaluate and refine this model. The funds will be used to access community needs through the Edmundo and Erlinda Carrillo Equity and Aging Initiative, employing community health workers to conduct surveys, disseminate public information as an education as part of their outreach. These activities will take place not only at the center, but across its 25 off-site locations, and it goes on. But that's the bulk of the, basically it's an expanded, enhanced version of the Friendly Collar program that was started 8 years ago, and now under the direction
And there was a
of
healthy
Jeff.
discussion during that meeting, sir, from a standpoint of 65 Check, and was it a separate organization from the senior center, or was the senior center making two applications? And so in the review of that, what the council member just read, that's how the subcommittee was able to come to supporting the recommendation.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's still not clear how someone would access this service without, well, being a member of or otherwise participating with the senior center. But if the subcommittee felt that they made their due diligence, then that's okay. Again, this would be helpful when we ask for information as a council member, and we're going to vote on this, and we ask for information, more information on it, that we be provided it, so.
Noted, understood.
Right.
You know, my input on this here, I thought we all understood that this is kind of like seed money to help nonprofits get started. And I'm going to go along with what the subcommittee, presented. I'm good with it, fine with that. But I just hope in the future we don't lose sight that, some of these, like Dr. Carry-On Foundation, they've been around for a long time. I was thinking more of this general fund community assistant grant is to help, like Desert Performers or the 65 Check. Those are new and they're doing good work. And Patsy does great work too. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve the 14.5, but she's been doing it for years and does very, very well. So, I'll go ahead and go along with it, but I hope in the future we just don't lose sight of what this seed money is for. I think
One thing I'll just commit in the future years when we bring this forward, we'll just include all the applications with it so y'all can see all of them.
We'll make it part of the agenda packet.
Yes.
Lesson learned.
Okay.
And it would be nice to understand, because I didn't understand it the same way you do. I saw this money come in, and when Raymond and I did it last year, we saw it as a bulk of money, and we read the request, and then we divvied it based on where we thought it would do the best good. I mean, I don't remember saying, based on the criteria, but not, necessarily, that they've been around for a long time, or, any of those other reasons. I mean, if they'd been funded every year, I guess we'd consider that too. Probably be good to have 2 years worth of notes of, what we did. But
And Mayor Pro Tem, it was a very similar process this cycle as it was the cycle previously. So
imagine.
It was, yes, along the same lines.
Yeah, and I don't want you to think I was thinking it was anything other than that. It's just now when I hear some people say tonight, that doesn't seem to exactly gel with what we did either. But I thought what we did was right, so.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, just to clarify, our published requirements that you all had reviewed and adopted didn't require that it necessarily be a new charity or seed money. What we did require is that we're not the only source of funding. They had to demonstrate that they were also raising funds from other sources.
Right.
Okay. All right. Anything else, council? Public comments?
I have no request to speak forms for this item. If you're a member of the public and you wish to provide public comment, please raise your hand.
It's just you.
Okie dokie. Let's do a motion. Do we have a motion?
I move.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. There it goes.
Did you mean to abstain? I just want to check. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So the motion carries with Councilmember Gregory abstaining.
Okay. Kevin, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. And H, declaration of surplus land. May we have a staff report, please?
No, Leon Rhodes.
Oh, Leon Rhymes. Oh, I jumped over one. My bad.
He was still coming up.
He feels good.
Those old people don't know.
Mayor, members of the council, when you adopted the budget for 24-25, it's the 10th year anniversary of the Cathedral City International Hot Air Balloon Festival. You included additional funding to provide an upgraded, I guess we could say, headline performer for that night, and we're pleased to be able to award the contract for that tonight. Ryan?
Thank you, City Manager. Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, excited to present to you a bit ceremonial in nature, but an official ratification of the contract agreement that we have for Leanne Rhymes to be our headline performer for the 10th anniversary of the Cathedral City International Hot Air Balloon Festival. So just a quick recap, just to kind of set the scene of the Balloon Festival and kind of some of the momentum that it's been building that we hope to continue to capitalize on. And with your support as a council, you can see the then Mayor and now Councilmember Lamb in front of the Cathedral City Balloon that you all authorized, which has done a lot of great work going across other festivals, and we've captured that, and I think it's been a really good ad for both Visit Greater Palm Springs to promote the overall valley as a tourism entity, but also giving Cathedral City a lot of brand placement as well. So the Palm Award, which was a prestigious honor given to the event at the dinner that was hosted by the Visit Greater Palm Springs organization that I mentioned as well, and then the projected attendees last year, 25,000 plus, and we do actually have some Placer AI data that we were able to support that, so it was really cool to see the foot map, the heat map of kind of where all the foot traffic was, to see how many people were coming into our downtown, and how much that also benefits, obviously, the small businesses and restaurants that can benefit from that as well. So, we featured food trucks, we had a drone light show again, live music, kid zones, and a car show. But this year, really being able to to take it to the next level with your all's support. As part of the biennial budget process last year, you did increase the overall budget to secure a headline performer on the caliber of Leanne Rimes, and we were happy to announce her at the State of the City. Mayor Carnevale gave that with a nice drum roll. It was cool to be able to announce news at State of the City. You don't always get that opportunity, breaking news like that, so that was fun. And the concert will take place at Saturday, November 23rd. That's at 5 p.m. Emily West, who I know has performed in Cathedral City before, and is America's Got Talent contestant, finalist, will perform an acoustic set at 4 p.m. before Leanne starts at 5, and then that will spill out to allow everybody to enjoy the Balloon Glow at 7 p.m. I think my biggest concern with booking this was we had to get approval from Leanne's team to see if she would be willing to do it just a little bit earlier, because if I was buying a ticket or going to this and then I missed the Balloon Glow, it's like we wanted everybody to be able to get everything for this, so I'd make it a really nice 3 to 7 window. And then Agua Caliente Casino Cathedral City has agreed to do an after party after the Balloon Glow to keep the party and festivities going here in downtown Cathedral City, so that's great. So the seating chart's available for you. Tickets went on sale on June 20th, so that website is now live. You can find it on Discover Cathedral City. You can find it on the Hot Air Balloon Festival website, which is hotairbaloonfest.com, and it's on our amphitheater page, which is eventually the landing page that you will end up on if you're purchasing a ticket. Additionally, 1,000 free general admission tickets will be available for Cathedral City residents. You can see the free areas there in the zone on the map. We have a great partnership with Agua Caliente Casino to be able to drive some foot traffic over to their venue to be able to pick up the free tickets, which actually should start Monday. We just finished printing those this afternoon, so we'll get those over to them. Requires a valid form of ID. We will have a check-in sheet that they have to fill out with their name, address, phone number, and proof of residency, like I said, is required, but really excited to be able to offer that to our Cathedral City taxpayers who help support this amphitheater venue. And complimentary tickets will be picked up at the Ace Club at the casino. So we'll have that clearly marked, and we have it funneled to us. If there's any questions, complaints, concerns, we'll be able to help resolve those issues in real time. And then just kind of an announcement there with the graphic that we put out on the tickets going on sale. And then there's the website that I mentioned as well. If you go to that purchase tickets, it should pop up with a seating chart that's available to you to kind of pick your seats. So the City of Cathedral City is also excited to announce Agua Caliente Casinos, and they have offered money amounting that is more than it's ever provided for this event, which is great, upping their game too, along with everybody else here in Cathedral City. So really happy to have them back. You can see their balloon there. It felt weird to not have them part of it, so we're happy that they're back on board. And the festival will feature more live food truck vendors, a beer and wine garden, tethered balloon rides, car show, all the things that you've come to expect, and a complete schedule will be announced very soon, probably next week or the week after, at hotairbaloonfest.com. This is the 4th year Agua Caliente Casinos will launch their marquee racing balloon to kick off the festivities. That'll be a Friday morning launch once again. And with that, the staff recommendation is to ratify the agreement for Leanne Rimes to perform as the headline act inside the Community Amphitheater for the 10th anniversary of the Cathedral City Hot Air Balloon Festival. And her performance in particular will be Saturday, November 23rd. And with that, I'll answer any questions that you have.
I should have listened to my mother and became a singer.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, one charcuterie board, whatever.
Feeds 8.
And 6-pack of LaCroix Waterloo, not picky for flavors.
Some of the stuff I didn't know what it was, but I thought if I was rich, I'd know.
Yeah. Just curious. So who's going to be getting this laundry list of food?
We have bought out the packages for her to be able to get whatever she needs. We'll do some of the grocery shopping on the easier to get items, but we really limited, obviously, in the alcohol purchases and any value added items that were, I think, just beyond the city scope of what we would be willing to pay.
I think you have to go to Hollywood for some of them.
They were very actually easy to work with throughout this process, and I think understood as a city government, we wouldn't be
You
able
crossed
to.
off all the alcohol except one. I didn't understand why there's still a 6-pack of local IPA unless you're going to get it from over here, the Luchador maybe or something.
Yes, I guess we could get, I was actually talking to the city manager. I think it was more of an oversight than anything, but yes.
It's just their
but
drummer. 6 is good.
if they hold us to the 6-pack, we'll make sure it's Cathedral City local. That sounds like a plan.
Ryan, on special provision, are we paying for the 8 stagehands? We're the purchaser, so where's all that? Is that?
That's going to be Bernie Mercado, so that'll be Mercado Technological Solutions, which we already have the exclusive rights agreement with for the amphitheater.
Okay,
So our amphitheater operator will be increasing their staff capacity to be able to satisfy, but it'll be the same vendor that we've always used to run AV.
So the entertainer gets 80,000, then we pick up the freight for everything else after that?
Yes, I mean, the plan with generated revenue of the ticket sales is to offset the cost. I mean, that's what we're hoping to do with that, yep.
100%?
We hope so.
Wow.
We hope so.
Yeah, we hope it doesn't rain, because they still got to pay if it, bad weather, she doesn't go on.
Have rain insurance, you never
No, I don't know about that. Questions,
Yes.
comments?
I'm up.
Oh, it's working again?
Well, it is for those who are saying I'm up.
There we go. Nancy Ross.
Thank you so much. Never knew. So you did answer the question about the tickets off cost, up against the cost, so just kind of even. So you'll send something out for us early on for our social media so that we can just pump it. I mean, as soon as those tickets are available, we should be having that out.
They're available. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, then tonight would be good.
Yeah, yes, that graphic
Tonight,
is
sir.
available, and
Tonight.
it's all over our social, but I'll be happy to send it to you so you can
Yeah, but I
put
have
it on
weird
yours.
people on mine that you probably don't get on yours. And he sort of beat me to the punch, but to be rich. There's some very exotic foods on that list. But, I didn't even know those existed.
Yes.
And then the last thing is, thank you so very, very much for Agua Caliente for just continuing to be such a good partner with us.
Absolutely.
And I hope somewhere in a room, they're saying, and oh, thank you so much, Cathedral City, for being such good partners with us. And that's what partners are. So if you hear they grumble, you tell us, and we'll go smooth it out.
I think they're really excited about having the best and biggest event we've had.
I would like to point out, and this will not be new to you, but every year I'm going to say this, you know, their balloon has a door. Just saying.
Noted. Thank you, Council.
balloon or
Thank
the
you, Mayor Pro
carriage?
Tem.
The carriage?
Well, of course, a balloon doesn't have a door.
Thank you.
He said, was it the balloon or the carriage? Sometimes.
So just one question. I assume you're calling on me. On the rider, number 5, it talks about ticket holds and for 50 artist comps that are supposed to be. So are those, I didn't see those on the seating chart as blocked out.
They are already
They
blocked
are?
out.
They just
Yes.
don't show up there, or you've already blocked them out?
No, they show up. They're in the orange section in the middle.
I thought maybe you sold all those tickets.
No. Well, I think we've sold close to about 75. So far. So it's the summer. We're going to do a bigger blitz. I think especially as we get people who are part-time residents, and we've got a full page planned in the Desert Sun and some other ways. But we'll get on all the local TV news and really pump it out, particularly as the Labor Day holiday kind of turns. Yeah.
All right, that was it. I was just trying to comb through like everyone else has, and enjoy looking at all the special requests. Thank you, Ryan, for all this work.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mayor. Ryan, one quick question.
Sure.
Now, when a resident goes to the casino, to the Ace Club there, and shows their ID, will they get one ticket or 2 tickets?
It's just one ticket per ID.
person.
Yeah, one ticket per ID. We're really trying to eliminate scalping and any type of ability to use those tickets and ways that would be able to benefit for profit. These are really meant to give back to the residents that kind of help support the amphitheater in this venue. So we're trying to keep it as tightened up as we can.
Do that, children.
It is, you have to be 21 and over to get the tickets from the casino. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment?
I don't have any request to speak forms for this item. If you're a member of the public and you wish to provide public comment, please raise your hand.
Wonderful.
I see no hands.
Thank you, Ryan. This is going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of work.
Super
There's going to be a lot of work. Anything we can do, let us know.
Go get more.
Do we have a motion?
Oh, that's my fault. I got off the site. Just give me a second.
You
I'll
might
get
want
back
to do
there.
it verbal, unless you get back up.
Do it verbal. Can I
We're
just?
going to have to do it verbal. Her screen went dark.
I X'd out. If you gave me a minute, I could probably get back on.
Well, let's do
Okay, I'll do a verbal. Councilmember Lamb? Councilmember Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilmember Gregory?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ross?
Yes.
Mayor Carnevale?
Yes.
And motion carries all ayes.
And now we have declaration of surplus land. We're going to go straight to
last but not least.
Ann?
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members. So the item before you is going to be a discussion about declaring a city-owned parcel as surplus land. So by way of background, the Surplus Land Act was enacted in 1968 and amended in 2020, and it requires all local agencies to prioritize affordable housing as well as parks and open space when disposing of surplus land. And before an agency disposes or sells or leases property, and so for us, this is mainly property that was formerly redevelopment property, we must first go through this property to declare that it's either surplus land or exempt surplus land. And by doing so, we're declaring that we are not going to have a governmental purpose for it, that we're not going to use it for construction of a city building or for a park or some other city government use. And that's going to be the process that we're going to discuss with you tonight. So once a property is declared surplus, then the city is required to put out notice of availability to local public entities and organizations involved in affordable housing development. And HCD maintains a list of those interested housing development parties. We will send out that notice of availability for 60 days. And once that, if there are any interested parties during that period of time, we will open up good faith negotiations with those parties for no less than 90 days to determine if the city can come to an agreement with one of those parties. In the event that no affordable housing entity expresses interest, or if the city cannot agree, if the city and the other party can agree to terms, the city may then go back to HCD, give them notice of that, and then get a clearance letter that then clears the property for the city to either sell or, if desired later, to retain for a governmental purpose. So the property that is before you for consideration in going through this process is what is fondly termed as our festival lawn. So this is 1.8 vacant acres just at the northwest corner of East Palm Canyon Drive and West Buddy Rogers, APN 687-475-006. And this parcel has been identified in the city's long-range property management plan that it was not to be developed by the city for a city-owned or operated purpose. So in order to sell the property, we must begin this formal process of declaring the land surplus consistent with the Surplus Land Act. So again, just if no written letter of interest is received, then we would inform HCD, and upon written confirmation, then we can proceed to dispose of the parcel. So that would mean that we can market the parcel, we can hold on to it and kind of really think about what we would like, what would make the most sense there. However, if we get through this process, one of the things that the city is required to do is to record a deed restriction on the parcel, requiring that if in the future there is any residential development built on that parcel, that 15% of the residential units of development of 10 or more units must be affordable for a period of 55 years if they're rental units or 45 years if they're ownership units. And that deed restriction will also need to be provided to HCD. So staff's recommendation before you tonight is that the City Council adopt a resolution declaring certain 1.8 acres of vacant parcel located at the northwest corner of East Palm Canyon Drive and West Buddy Rogers, APN 687-475-06, be declared as surplus, and direct staff to initiate the process as set forth in the Surplus Land Act for the sale of this land. There is no fiscal impact in beginning this process. The city did invest $4,000 for the appraisal of the property, but that is the only expense that's been associated with this action so far. And this meets the city's strategic plan goals of Goal C, financial stability, and the action of developing and implementing an economic development strategic plan. And that's Steph's presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Great, thank you. I just got a comment. I think this has been a long time coming, and I'm really excited to get this moving forward. I think down the road, maybe a year, maybe two, who knows, but it's going to fulfill the dream of Cathedral City downtown, so I'm excited about this. Council comments or questions? Public comment?
I have no request to speak forms for this item. If you're a member of the public and you wish to provide public comment, please raise your hand. I see no hands raised.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
The motion carries all ayes.
Thank you, exciting. Are there any items the council would like to discuss for future? Nothing? Nothing going on? Okay, well, in that case, the next regular city council meeting will be held on July 24th, 2024, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Well, sorry.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I'm like, sorry. I'm like,
Everybody didn't get one.
Everybody didn't get one, and I asked them, and they said they would send me the information. They never did.